The painter and the girl in the rain. The rain was pouring heavily. Water droplets hit the street, forming small rivers. Lightning flashed, and the cold wind sent shivers through the city. Amidst this storm, a girl stood outside an old house, completely drenched. Her long, wet hair clung to her face, and her eyes held fear, like she was running from someone. Inside the house, a painter named Ethan watched her through the window. Ethan was a lonely artist, his world limited to his colors and canvas. His paintings were gaining recognition, but his life felt empty, like an unfinished sketch. He paused as he saw the girl standing in the rain. She was shivering, and her face carried a pain so deep that it could shake anyone to their core. Ethan quickly opened the door and called out to her. She hesitated, but then, as if her feet decided on their own, she stepped inside. Ethan handed her a towel and gestured for her to sit. "Are you okay?" Ethan asked gently. The girl thought for a moment, then nodded slowly. "Yes, maybe." Her voice trembled. Ethan made some tea and placed it in front of her. For the first time, he looked at her closely. She was beautiful, but her eyes held a sorrow that words couldn't explain. "I'm Ethan. And you?" "Leah," she whispered. Ethan repeated her name, as if trying to memorize it. But he didn't ask any questions. There was a storm of unanswered questions in Leah's eyes, and Ethan knew that sometimes silence was the best response. After some time, as Leah started to feel more comfortable, she finally spoke. "I'm running from someone, from my past." Ethan didn't react, just listened. "I've lost everything." Leah's eyes shimmered, but it wasn't the glow of happiness. It was the sting of memories. "There's no one waiting for me at home. No place to go. No reason left to live." Ethan met her gaze and softly said, "Not every story ends. Sometimes you just need to turn the page." That night, Leah stayed at Ethan's place. She didn't reveal much, and Ethan didn't push her. But both of them knew that their separate stories had somehow collided at this unexpected moment. In the following days, Leah slowly began to open up. She revealed that she came from a wealthy family, but money couldn't buy peace. Her own family made her feel like a prisoner. She was forced to appear perfect, but inside she was breaking apart. One night, when things became unbearable, she decided to run. And that's how she ended up lost in the rain. Ethan listened to her story without interrupting. Then, without saying a word, he picked up his brush and started painting. "What are you making?" Leah asked. "Your story," Ethan replied. Leah was surprised. "But you don't even know me." "I'm starting to," Ethan said with a soft smile. Days passed and Leah's face started appearing in Ethan's paintings. Sometimes she was standing in the rain, sometimes alone on a mountain peak, sometimes staring at her own reflection by a quiet lake. In every painting, she was different, like she was discovering herself in new ways. For the first time, Leah saw herself through someone else's eyes. The paintings weren't just colors, they were mirrors to her soul. "You're saving me, Ethan," she said one day. Ethan smiled. "Maybe you're saving me too, Leah." But every story has a twist. One afternoon, while Ethan was working in his studio, the sound of screeching car brakes echoed outside. Leah's face turned pale. "They found me." Her voice shook with fear. Before Ethan could say anything, there was a loud knock at the door. Outside stood her parents and their men. "Leah, come home. This drama has gone on long enough." Her father's voice was stern. Leah was trembling. Her eyes filled with tears, but she couldn't speak. Ethan gently touched her hand. "It's your choice, Leah, but make it for yourself, not for anyone else." Leah took a deep breath. Her parents' eyes were filled with anger, but Ethan's held trust. There was a long silence. Then Leah lifted her head and said, "I'm not going back." Her father's face twisted in shock. "What?" "I lived by your rules for years, but now I choose to live my own life." Her father stared at her for a moment, then, without a word, turned and walked away. Leah let out a deep breath. Ethan smiled. "So now what?" Leah looked at him, and for the first time, her eyes held peace. "Now, I live on my own terms." Ethan picked up his brush and smiled. "Let's put that on a canvas.